So I've been overthinking a lot recently on how exactly to begin this journey. How do I start posting on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok? What do I talk about, and how do I get the confidence to start talking to the camera? And it was quite funny because I've been journaling about this for quite some time. I want to share my content and my progress and document it to you guys to inspire you, but I've been journaling about this for a long time and trying to come up with all these ideas and build up the confidence to finally just do it. But that's the thing, you can't journal your way to success. You kind of just got to start and figure it out. About 10 months ago, I had a relationship end and it damaged me for quite some time. I was forced to kind of face my psyche, my unconscious patterns, and to embrace a period of being alone, because the way I saw it, I kind of had two ways to go down the end of the road, where I could go into a state of distraction, drinking or drug consumption, which I've been there before and we all know it doesn't get you anywhere, or you can decide to face it head on. Dive deep into your psyche, your unconscious behaviors, why you act the way you do, and that is exactly what I chose to do. So in the first few months, I did a lot of time alone to just kind of let my emotions be present and to just breathe my way through them, because it gets pretty overwhelming, a breakup. I started asking myself the questions, why did I get so attached? Why am I so afraid to be alone? What does this mean? And as time went on, I started to actually really enjoy it. So I ended up booking a solo travel trip to Asia. I went to Thailand and Bali for a month and I went to go tour that. I started learning the guitar, the handpan, and I've even begun recently my journey towards Christ. So I'm learning to be or follow the path of a Christian through Jesus and to live my day-to-day life through prioritizing God. I've perfected my diet pretty much. I've got a few more things to work on, but I'm really proud of it. And I've also gone from this to this in the gym throughout the past 8 months, and I'm extremely proud of it. I say this not to try to flex or to prove that I'm better than anyone. I'm far from it and I'm learning, but I want to inspire people to do good in the world, and I want to document my progress while I'm at it. I've always been passionate about this, but the fear of not knowing where to start or how to do all this has always put me off, and I'm sick of letting that justify me. Christianity has always been an interest of mine since I was a child, or I guess just a concept of religion. And it wasn't until I was kind of forced into this period of isolation where I was asking these deeper questions, I got the interest to explore these topics a bit more. And for me personally, I just feel like when you take a step back and look at what is happening in the world nowadays, especially with our younger generation, me included, it's just, you can tell we're so disconnected, we're so lost. It's like we don't have these moral compass to guide us anymore. You see people stepping so far away from religion and getting into problems like wars and racism, sexism, all this kind of stuff, and people are just so angry and caught up in their hedonistic ways. Is that a word? I think it's a word. Like hedonism, just a constant state of consumerism, comparison, and not really a care in the world. And I say this to mention in reference that we're not bad people at heart, but we are sinners. We sometimes do wrong, and we should strive to do good in life and to do better. So when I finally decided on this, I walked into the Christian store about 3 months ago, and I pretty much just said, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to be a better person and live a life closer to God. Because when you meet other Christians, you can just feel it in their heart that they're happy, content people. And they were so welcoming. They welcomed me in with open arms. She taught me about the New Testament and the Old Testament and how God sacrificed himself on the cross to save us. And it really resonated with me. So much so I started talking to some of the customers there actually. And one guy bought me this, I think it was $150 Bible that has the New Testament and the Old Testament. And it's even got little bits of summaries at the bottom teaching you what each verse is about. And I wanted to share with you guys a parable that resonated with me this morning. Mark chapter 4. It is the parable on the farmer scattering the seeds, pretty much highlighting how we should embrace the power of God and living a life through him. And this is in a sense discussing the power of how we should embrace God throughout our day-to-day lives by giving an example of a farmer who scattered his seeds across various bits of soil. Some landed in soils that were shallow with rock underneath, some landed in soil that had thorn bushes growing around it, and some landed in fertile soil and grew to be 100 times and produced huge amounts of fruit. How about the others? The ones growing around the thorns, they grew, but they got strangled by the thorns and bared no fruit. And the seeds that were thrown in the rock underneath, they sprouted, but as soon as it began to grow more and more, since it had no roots, it died and fell instantly. Now let me clarify, I may 100% be getting some of this wrong. Again, I'm very new to it myself, but I wanted to talk about it because it resonated a lot with me. And I found it quite interesting with the seeds that are thrown into the soil with the rock underneath, because this is referencing to the people that hear the voice of God, but they don't truly live it in a way that is fulfilling to Him. So they sprout and they hear it, but since they've got no deep-rooted faith in God, they bear no fruit and die down instantly as soon as they're faced with any kind of problem or challenge in life. But the seeds that were thrown in the soil with the thorns surrounding them, I think this references a lot to us today in society. So here it is talking about how they grow too quickly, but their message is crowded out by the worries of this life and the lure of wealth and the desire for other things, so no fruit is produced. This is talking about how we get distracted with things like money, comparison, and wealth, and they start to bear no fruits because their faith is clouded by the amount of devil temptations and distractions that there is in today's society. And of course, the seeds that fell in good soil represent those who hear and accept God's wisdom and produced a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as had been originally planted, discussing that if we are living a faithful and honourable life, honoured to God and His wisdom, we will bear the fruits of that if we live a life close with Jesus. And yeah, that's just a clear example of how I'm kind of beginning this journey as a Christian, I guess you could say, and just taking it at my own pace. And now, of course, there are other hobbies I want to talk about too, like my fitness, my nutrition, all this kind of stuff. But I'm thinking for this video, we'll just keep it short and simple and leave it at that. And we'll discuss those other topics into some other videos. So cheers to the first video.